What's up, Geno?
Hey. That's it. I'm done.
Geno,
No questions?
you bummed you're not packing for Germany right now, or you welcome the convenience of the change?
I mean, it would have been. I think it would have been a really cool experience for for the entire program, all the people that would make the trip. But we live in a strange world right now, So the alternative is pretty darn good, though. To be at a place like the U.S. Naval Academy is pretty special, and if that's a consolation prize, then I feel pretty good about it.
The UConn men were the first team in this 10 years ago. You guys are the first women's basketball team with Louisville to be in this event. Just what does that mean to set the stage?
Basically, the fact that you're asked to do something like this, and what it signifies, and who would benefit from it. That's the other thing that gets lost in this. Those service members that are stationed over there, and all the people that live over there, on the base. That would have been a great time for them, So as much as it would have benefited us to be there, I think they would have got a kick out of it. And we're UConn, so we get to experience things that other schools don't get to experience. And, we have a unique situation here in that both programs are looked at as, if we want to do something special, if we want to do something that's unique and outside the box a little bit, who better to call than, the phone number here and see if the men or women are available, and let's go,
What's the challenge of opening on a team like Louisville that looks very different from last year, comes into the season ranked?
Somebody just asked me who we played last year in the first game, and I truly could not remember. And I hope I'm right, but I don't think it was a team as good as Louisville that we opened with. And sometimes, we do. Sometimes we open with a really, really, really tough test right out of the gate. And it wouldn't be so bad if they had everybody back and I knew exactly who they were, But they've gone through a lot of changes from last year, and that's always the challenge. Can you kind of predict based on what you've seen in the past from Jeff and what their staff and what their team over the years has been like and what they like to do, and can you glean anything from that to try to help you going into this. So we have a scouting report, sitting on my desk, and I don't know how much of it to believe, because it's all a little bit of exhibition stuff, But other than that, it's kind of a typical Louisville team in that respect, They've got a couple good transfers in. Their long and their quickness and how they want to play and how aggressive they want to be. So I wouldn't expect anything different. I think they've got two pretty good guards. Roberts and Berry are like really, really good. Last year when we played them, a lot of really their best players were freshmen. And now those kids are sophomores, and so I think it'll be a great test, for our players, our older guys to get back into the swing of things, and for our new guys to hate us as Connecticut basketball.
Geno, what's your approach in coaching Yana through this comeback? You've been through it with Paige and AZ and Caroline, that need to kind of stick to it and for 2 long years to get back on the court and kind of get what she signed on for when she came to UConn. What's your approach to coaching her through all that?
It's hard. It's been very difficult on her. I mean, she hasn't played in 3 years almost, and how do you get better unless you get a lot of reps in games? You know, how do you improve? How do you get more confident playing in games? So that's a really difficult part. The other part is, you know, you're older, but you're not an older, mature, confident, experienced player because you haven't played. And now you get all these young guys coming in and guys that have played a lot of basketball. So it's difficult for somebody like that to just come in, jump in, and boom. So it's a long recovery, even longer to get acclimated back into that. And what I see every day is the energy level hasn't changed. You know, her approach hasn't changed. The frustration obviously comes out. But you know, from a coaching standpoint, all you can do is just keep putting her out there and keep encouraging her to, you know, show us what you're made of, you know, and all those things have not changed. You know, how she gets after the ball, how she gets after the rebounding part. You know, scoring is a challenge for her. She struggles with some of the things, but it's not. It hasn't been. It's the same with Carol too. You know, like you want to reward these guys for all the time they've put in. You know how hard they worked and all that. It's just a difficult thing on all of us, to be honest with you.
But you see some flashes of the player that you once recruited.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, you see, wow, and then it makes you think that it's there. Can we get it out? Can we get it out of you? You know, on a regular basis. That becomes the challenge. And then there's all these players ahead of you. So I think it'd be one thing if, like, you come back and there's only one other post player and bam, you throw them in there and, like, sink or swim, go. But now you come back and there's all these bodies out here, and it's tough to navigate.
Geno, were you going to have a bunch of team experiences in Germany that now you won't do here? Like, this is a much shorter, much more concentrated trip.
Yeah, a lot. It would all be different. You know, they'll have a little bit of an experience, so to speak, but not like we would have there. You know, we would have gotten there 3 or 4 days ahead of time. We would have been involved in an awful lot of things that they had planned for us over there, and obviously that's not going to be available. But I'm hopeful that, you know, we do have one event planned when we get down there, but we're there such a short period of time. You know, we get there Sunday, we play Monday. I mean, we have a day off to Monday, or a free day Monday to practice, and then Tuesday we're playing. So there's not a lot of time. But hopefully we can cram in a few things with the midshipmen. Because I like our players to see kids their age going about trying to be great at something other than basketball, and how they go about it.
We had a really great experience, if I remember correctly, years ago at Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we did. We were there a few times actually with our team when we played in that Christmas tournament or Thanksgiving tournament in Hawaii years ago. I'm a history buff, so I probably get it more out of it than anybody else. And we were in San Diego. We played San Diego State one time, and we took advantage and were able to get on the USS Ronald Reagan. You know, like, how many times do you get to be on an aircraft carrier and to actually feel like, yeah, we're just going on a boat ride with 3,500 other people, you know. I guess that people do that on cruises, but that's not usually my style. So it was fun. It was fun to ask the people working on the ship, the carrier, about their duties and listening to our players, or our players listening that this is what my job is, this is what my responsibility is, and looking at the players' faces like, I mean, you're in charge of catching those planes when they land on the carrier. Yeah, like I got to make sure that, you know. So, then what about you? Well, I got to rotate over and box out on a jump shot. You know, it's a little bit of a different vibe there. You know.
It's cool for young people who live in that jump shot, box out world to get a glimpse of military stuff, historical stuff that you seem to really appreciate.
I love that. You know, a couple years ago we practiced at West Point. Dave McGarity was the coach, and I had known him since high school days, and you know, they got to experience a little bit of a day in the life of a cadet, and they're just shaking their heads, you know, like how to. And the thing you hear all the time is, man, I couldn't do this. You know, they really get an appreciation for that simple thing like going to lunch. You know, you got 4,500 people out there, and in 15 minutes they're all sitting down and they're eating lunch. Not like it takes me 15 minutes to get all these guys out of the training room, right? So you get 15 minutes, they're all sitting down and they're all having lunch, and they sit down, and it's not like, you know, hey, let's chill and have a nice meal. Like they're woofing it down like this, and they're done in like 5 minutes, and they're out. And you say, yo, where you guys going? What's going on? I said, it's the only 45 minutes of the day we have free. So they run back to their dorms and get some relaxation time. So their whole day, the entire day, is full of obligations. So it's an eye opener for how other people their age live, you know. And really, the thing that comes out a lot of times is, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. And especially when they went there and they saw how they have to jump in this pool when they come through this thing, and, you know, right away, like 5 of them went, I'm out. Like, I'm not doing that. So I get a kick out of all that stuff and the players' reaction. And we took our team when I was coaching the U.S. team. We went down there for a week and had training camp down there.
Where?
At Annapolis. It was awesome.
Annapolis.
Yeah, it was awesome. We spent an entire week down there, and we got, I got to see everything I wanted to see. I got, my wife Kathy's father played there, played at the Naval Academy, played basketball there, and I was able to find a stat sheet, much different than today's stat sheets, and I would not appreciate those stat sheets, name, number, stats, free throws, points. Signed, Lieutenant so and so, everybody out of the gym. You know, it was. So it was great for me, but I love that stuff. So I'll try to, make sure that they get to see as much as they're capable of seeing.
Even though there are a bunch of new players on the team this year, there is a big core that came back after winning last year. Can you feel not just some level of confidence, but can you feel that core continuing to gel, knowing the experience that they had together last year and what that could mean for them this season and with the new players that they're bringing in?
You really don't know that until games actually begin. Seasons usually, at least preseasons, usually start to identify who gels with who. Sometimes it's easy because the players coming in are all compatible and they've had a great experience. Some years it's difficult because the thing that held it together a lot is kind of missing, and now they've got to figure out a way to put it together. And the only thing that really makes it work is you have to have games. You have to put them in game situations where, they've got to figure things out as on the fly. So yeah, we've got a couple combinations that we have out there that look pretty good. But they look pretty good because we're here in a controlled environment. So I think Tuesday will be a little bigger test.
Do you like to open on a test like this on like a more of a sort of wake-up call opponent, or
No.
would you rather have a lighter one to start?
No, I'd rather kind of ease into it, you know. But this, you know, this opportunity came up out of nowhere. Really, it's not like we planned for it; just an opportunity that came up, and you can't pass it up. So I'm sure if you ask Jeff, I mean, that's what you've always wanted, right? Open up with Connecticut, you know, in a neutral game, you know, first game of the season. You know, it's not the easiest thing for us, not the easiest thing for them. But, yeah, dive into the deep end, see what happens.
Where do you feel like,
BU,
what do you think is the
BU
biggest?
you opened up with last year.
We opened up with BU. There you go. Uneventful.
Where
Not that BU's uneventful, but not the same as. I think next year I'll remember who we opened up with.
where do you think is the biggest difference for your team right now than they were, 3 weeks ago before BC, before the 2 exhibitions?
I think we're starting to see some progress. I think we're seeing a little more cohesiveness on the offensive end. We're still just okay, I think, defensively. I think our defense is way behind our offense right now. So, hopefully these next 3 days we can catch up, although I don't think we will. But right now, that's what I see. I see that we're a little more advanced offensively than we were 3 weeks ago. But defensively, we got some work to do. Because if we want to play full court, then knocks a couple kids out of the lineup. Because we can't play like that with a couple of the players. So we got to, balance between how much do we want to play, full court, this and all that, and then how do we get these guys in the game? And now we have to go back up because it's a whole different dynamic depending on who you have in. Whereas last year, these guys are in. This is how we're going to play, and there's no change. So it's different. It's different. Takes longer.
Coach, obviously the game is here in Maryland. We have military servicemen all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
When the game tips off that day, and you look at the flag when they play the Pledge of Allegiance, when they play the national anthem,
Yeah.
will there be any specific thoughts in your mind at a particular time?
Yeah, for me there always is. I'm pretty wired into all that. It's always been something for me that gets me. And it was really, really difficult when I was coaching the Olympic team, or even just the 18 and under team in Argentina. I think was the very first time that I looked up and I saw what was going on, what the significance of it was, and it's pretty overwhelming. But it makes me think of a lot of things. Every time. I remember when my mother became a citizen, it was almost like the perfect storm. It's 1976. 200th anniversary in Philadelphia in Independence Hall. I mean, you couldn't write that script any better, right? And so anytime these kinds of things happen, I kind of think back to those days and what it means to so many people, what that flag represents to so many people. And yeah, it happens to me every time, and I took a picture just to show them the flags flying at my house is a U.S. flag and a Navy flag, so I don't want them down there thinking that I'm a secret Army guy. I'm not. I'm a Navy guy.
Geno, Not just on this topic, like, you think about all the places you've been all over the world. I'm sure you've taken some cool vacations, but your job alone has
Yeah.
pulled you into
Yeah.
every corner of this country, all over the world.
Yeah,
You've been doing this 40 years now, you've seen a lot.
yeah,
I mean, it's gotta mean a lot to you to have
yeah,
explored the globe through the job of your choosing.
yeah, yeah. I don't know why I kind of was so affected by this growing up. You know, maybe maybe stories that I heard. You know, when I was a little kid. You know, about my grandfather was killed in Egypt during the Second World War. You know, then when we came to America, you know, my cousin was only a couple of years. He was a couple of years older than me, maybe 3 or 4 years older than me, and he was a Marine and he was in Vietnam, and my other cousin was in the Air Force, and just saw a lot of my friends go over to Vietnam, and some came back, some didn't. And I think I grew up in an era where my parents were part of that, you know, World War II generation, and then lived through an era where I was just young enough to miss it, and my friends that were 2 years older, 3 years older than me, and family members. So I kind of got it all, you know, and all the places I've been in the world. The thing that strikes you the most is how passionate people are around the world about their country and about their, you know, their national anthem and their flag and what it represents. And that's what I always came home with. You watch any event, okay? You watch any event on television, or if you're there in person, and they're playing the national anthem of Croatia. Let's just use Nika. And every person in the building when we're there, and every single player is singing the national anthem, the Croatian national anthem. It's just something you don't see here in America. So you come back with like a wow, you know, how passionate people are about. And every time I'm around people in the military, they have that. They have that, and they're pretty special people, and sometimes they get asked to do things they don't like, but they do them anyway. Like now, you know.
You got the World Cup coming.
And we got the World Cup coming, and that'll be. Yeah, I'm anxious to see what the reaction is from all those people coming over, and I've never been to a World Cup game in person, but that might be maybe one of the great experiences in the world, you know, to do something like that, you know. So
Will you get to one?
I don't know. I don't know. I would hope that someday I would get an opportunity to do that. And maybe someday Italy will be back in the World Cup. You know, all my uncles are rolling over in their grave if I told them, you know, the last 16 years or whatever it is, Italy can't get in the World Cup. They would, like, we think the world's falling apart. Imagine how they feel.
Have they really missed a few in a row?
They've missed 2 in a row. Yeah.
Are they out of this one already?
No, they're not out of this one yet. They're not out. I say yes. I mean, hopefully they're in. I mean, I can have a World Cup without it. It's like, it's un-American. It's un-American.
What are your thoughts on Dallas hiring Jose?
There you go. Is a great American. We kid him all the time about, you know, his Cuban heritage, you know, and Miami and all the time he has spent in Florida. And I remember when I was having lunch with him in Pasadena at a game, bunch of games that we were watching, and he just got the job at South Florida, and we've been friends ever since. And D was like a sophomore or something, and we became friends, and we've been friends ever since. And I've always thought he's one of the best coaches in all of college basketball. Getting ready to play them is different than most any other team that you play, simply because of their, first, their international presence. Second, he's able to coach them a little bit differently because of their experience playing over there. So that's why I think he would be great, in Dallas, because he'll bring some international players over. And he's very sophisticated in stuff that he does, which fits in well with, what's happening and what's going to happen in that league. So I'm really happy for him. I'm thrilled for him. I'm happy for Paige. Happy for the whole organization, and I think he'll do great. He's coming up here for a couple of days, so maybe I'll get to pick his brain about some things. I'm sure he'll ask me about Paige, and I'll be glowing.
What's your reaction?
Anna, right? I'll be glowing.
You're so nice.
Seriously.
What's your reaction to just the general trend of college coaches taking the leap into the W with like Lynn and Carl last year and now Jose?
Really? Where's somebody going? Somebody using my phone to go someplace? Where are you going?
Then turn left.
Turn left. Wants to go somewhere. Yeah, I thought what we would see would be when the money got better, as salaries were getting better, I think you would see more college coaches leave to go coach there. I think you're also going to see a lot of like Connecticut did, maybe some international coaches come over, like Sandy, being Australian. And I believe there's going to be an NBA presence, like Phoenix. No? And I think somebody else just did too. Portland?
Yeah.
So I think the pool has opened up a lot. And I'm not surprised. Because the college thing isn't going to be working very well in a couple of years. I mean, I don't have to worry about it, but a lot of coaches, at least in the WNBA, there's rules. You might not like them, and they might not be the best rules, but at least there's rules. And I think coaching in college, there are no rules. And the rules that they do have, everybody breaks them. So it's not a great place to be working these days if you're a young coach and you have an opportunity to go someplace else. So for the first time since the league started, I can actually say, I think their future, WNBA's, is brighter than college basketball, if you ask me personally.
The other day I asked you about Sarah shifting positions a little bit.
Yeah?
How dangerous can a team be if you do have, in theory, the ability to play big, like you guys have a lot of depth in the front court now, and potentially go small?
Yeah. The issue comes in, Sarah's our only big guy that can play every position. Most of our other big guys, they can only play one position. They got to be somewhere around the lane. Sarah, we can move her anywhere we want. So we have to have a certain lineup out there. So trying to incorporate those big guys, I wish that there was way more variety in our big guys, So that's something that we're going to have to work on. Because right now, a lot of them are the same. Then you get Ice, who doesn't want to be in the lane, who just wants to shoot from the perimeter. But then defensively, we got an issue. So it's a lot to work around right now. And But yeah, Sarah, we move her around. Actually, we don't. I just tell her to go wherever she wants to go, and she does the rest.
Do you have an update on Morgan?
No. See her just walked by here. She walked by here a little while ago. We'll go over there for probably some either rehab or some testing or something. So yeah, no new updates on Morgan. None. All right, boys and girls.
Thank you.